Hey folks, welcome back to another video of the Flutter Development course brought to you by Newton School. My name is Harsh Kumar Khatri and I am currently working as a Flutter developer at Alihoop, and I have worked as an intern at Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and I have also worked as a Flutter developer intern at AppScript, and I am also an educator and instructor on Udemy and Unix, where my Flutter development courses have more than 40,000 plus enrollments, so you can check them out as well. Talking about what Newton School is, so Newton School basically is a platform that helps you to develop and learn the skills that you need for your best tech career. They have courses specifically designed for freshers, working professionals, and for women with no prior experience in tech. Newton School also has a tie-up with 300 plus great companies who are directly from Newton School, so you don't need to worry about your placement once you are completed with these courses. And they are also having another awesome initiative where you don't have to pay anything to Newton School until and unless you are placed with a minimum CTC of 5 lakh rupees per annum. So that is another great thing. Apart from that, they also have another initiative known as Launchpad, where you will be getting some of the courses for free of cost and you don't have to pay for them, and you'll also be getting a certificate of completion once you complete those courses. So you can check out Newton School and Launchpad through the link given in the description. Now coming towards what would be covered in this video. So in this video I am going to talk more about Firebase. So I'll be walking you through the Firebase console which we are having, and will be making you aware about various different components or things which are available in Firebase and what all you can do with Firebase. So we'll be looking into that throughout this video. So without wasting any more time, let's jump directly to the console. So herein you can see over here that I have opened my console. So for opening this console, what you have to do is you have to directly Google Firebase, and you have to click on this first link, or like this link you can click on as well. And after that, if you are signed in, then it will be providing you with an option where you click and you will be taken to the console directly. So that's the console that will be opening for you. So here you can see that if I have various different projects already added over here, but for you it will only be showing you with this recent project, or like add a project option over here, clicking which you can start or like create a new project inside your Firebase console. So one more thing, like you must be noticing that some of these projects have only the Android icon and some of those have iOS icon as well. So what it is all about, so basically this project has only the Android part enabled for it. So all the properties which I can add through Firebase inside my Android project, so I have enabled that and added the Google services JSON file over there. For the iOS part, this project has the iOS part enabled as well, so that's why it is also showing iOS. Once I'll be creating a new project, I'll be telling you about two more other things which you can enable or you can embed inside your Firebase into them. So one of them is the web, so you can add Firebase to your web projects as well. They could be website or web apps, or you can also add your Firebase like analytics sign in inside services like Unity, which is majorly used for creating games. So you can add your Firebase in that as well. Now let me just create a new project and let me walk you through the same. So once you will be clicking on create or add a new project, you will be asked about the project name. So I'll be naming it as demo app. So it will be adding a name for you. If you want, you can like change this, but I mostly keep that as constant one. Clicking on the continue button. Here it will be asking you if you want to add the Google Analytics inside your projects. So I most probably keep it as on, because like when you are testing your apps, that time you don't need much analytics, but like when your app is running in production, so you will be needing analytics. So that's why keeping it as on is like a good option. But like if you don't need, but if your app is not being used by a large number of people, then you can turn this analytics on. But at that time, if you are turning that on, then you will be missing out on some of the amazing features which are listed over here. So you need to make a decision for yourself when you are creating a new Flutter project, or like when you are creating a new Firebase project. I'll be clicking on continue for now, and herein I'll be asked to select an account. So that would be the default account for Firebase, which is this ID which with which I have signed, and it will be taking some time for like creating the project. It's just finishing up, and clicking on continue will be taken to the screen where we will be seeing information about our project. So herein you can see that as soon as your project will be loading, you can see Spark plan over here, which is basically the free plan which every project comes with. Clicking over here, you can choose from various different projects which you have, or like add a new project. Apart from that, here you can see that you can add your Firebase thing for your various different OSs or like various different like options. One is the iOS one, which I already told you about. Android also I already told you about. This is the web, clicking which you will be adding the information related to your web project, and then you will be getting some files which you need to add to your web app or web project or website, and later you can use the Firebase features which are available inside your web project as well. And this one is for the Unity. So like I haven't worked much with the web and the Unity part, because like I generally use it for the Flutter apps, that is the Android and the iOS part. Now the next thing which you must be noticing over here is this project overview, clicking which it will be loading this dashboard for you. For example, if you have some of the features which are enabled inside your Firebase, it could be authentication, storage, machine learning, real-time analytics. So the graphs from those features would be displaying over here inside this dashboard in the project overview, so that you don't have to enter in each of these features to get information about them. A brief gist of those will be appearing once you have enabled them and once they have some data to display. Apart from that, you can see over here that we have settings, clicking which it can open the project settings. So from here you can see that I have a project name, the project ID which I want to add, the web API key and other things like that. And here you can see that it is saying that I have no apps added in my project, which I can add later on. Here you can see that I have this cloud messaging thing for me, where I can add a server key. Apart from that, I am getting a server key, the sender ID. I have configuration for iOS which can be done. Web configuration can also be done. Next, we are having some integrations which we can make to like track the data or like to integrate various different Google services available inside our Flutter application with the help of Firebase. So here you can see that we have Google Play integration, AdMob, Ads, Jira, and etc. Others are also available. Next, we have this service account. So service account is basically if you want to like use your account to authenticate multiple Firebase features. So at that time you can use this particular feature, but like until now I haven't used it much inside any of my projects. We have this legacy credentials for database secrets, so we can generate secret key for that. And apart from that, we have this force service account option, which I'll not be talking about or not be going into. Next is the data privacy thing. Let's skip that and directly move towards the user and permission. So for example, now if you are working in a team and there are more than one person, and there is more than one person who will be using the Firebase or needing the Firebase, it could be like one team is working on the authentication part, another team is working on the database part, or one team is working on the storage part and the other team is working on the database part. So at that time you need to add various different members inside your Firebase project, which you can do from this particular option, that is the users and permission. Clicking on add members, you can directly add the email address and choose the role for them. And apart from then they'll be getting an invite, after which they have to complete the sign up or login, and then they'll be also seeing the information about the project depending upon what permission or what role you have assigned them to. And now at last we are having this app check, which is in still in beta. Like I haven't used it much because earlier it was not not available inside the Firebase console, but yeah, it has been added. I'm not sure when, but yeah, I guess it is added recently only. Next, apart from this project setting, we have this user and permission, which I have already talked about here. And next we have this usage and billing. For now, as our project is under the Spark plan, that is a free of cost plan, so we are not getting any bills or like usage statics, and also we haven't used or created any services yet, so that's why it's not showing any data. But like if you are having some usage, then it will be providing you with the usage and the quotas for the project as well. So for example, if you are using the storage service, then it will be providing you with some fixed quota for that inside the Spark plan. And once you are like completed, or once you have completed use that particular quota, then it will be asking you to either upgrade the plan, or like it will be stopping the service for you and would be providing you with some errors when you are trying to use that service inside your Flutter application. So that's the information which you can access from this usage and billing. Now moving towards the different properties, or what you can say the different features or services which are available from Firebase, starting with the authentication part. So authentication majorly allows you to add various different authentication methods which are available. It could be like email and sign up authentication, the Google sign in authentication, GitHub authentication, Facebook authentication, or Twitter authentication. Apart from that, there is also the phone number authentication, which you can use to like integrate the authentication thing inside your Flutter application or like Android application. Let me see if I can show you the authentication inside one of my projects which I have already worked on. So from here in the users tab, you can see over here that we have various different users over here who have already signed up through the email and service authentication, email and password authentication. Apart from that, when you will be clicking on this sign in method, you will be like shown with various different sign in options which you can enable to add various different methods to like enable authentication inside your Flutter application, or Android or iOS authentication as well. So herein you can see that I have enabled this email and password authentication, and it is showing me the status as enabled. This phone authentication is disabled, the Google authentication is enabled, and anyone can sign in as an anonymous, and that is also enabled over here. Clicking the add new provider, I can add the authentication for Facebook, Play Games, Game Center, Apple, GitHub, Microsoft, Twitter and Yahoo as well. So earlier the layout for this was different, but now they have like updated the layout, and like it's pretty sleek over here. Now coming about the authorized domain. So for example, if you are developing an app and if you want to allow various particular domains to be like authenticated inside your Flutter application, so you can add them over here as well. But like if you are like working on apps which won't be used by much people, and like it is in the testing phase only, so you don't need to worry about these and add various different things about these. It's just a normal thing which you need to not look at while you are working on those kind of application. And here we have this advanced options as well. So this one account per email address, like it prevents the user from creating multiple accounts using the same email address with different authentication providers. So for example, if you have enabled the authentication for Twitter and for Facebook, and both of these authentication services have your email ID as common, so if you haven't like turned this on, then the user can create one account with Twitter authentication and another account with the Facebook authentication, and these both account will be having a same email address, but like those will be working differently, or like having the different data according to the user's usage. So you need to see into this as well while you are working on any of the projects. So you can enable this because like it will be making your app much more what we can say safer, on the safer side, because like if one user is having two different accounts for same email ID, then it can cause errors inside your application. And apart from that, we are having this manage sign up quota, which will be basically for managing the things inside your apps which you are developing once the sign in quota has ended. Next we have this template option. So whenever you want to send some email, so email address verification, you can create a template for that. Password reset, email address change, and SMTP settings, you can also change those settings from here. There is also an SMS verification option. So if you want to change the text for the SMS which will be sent to the user, you can change it from over here. And herein you can see the usage for the project. So for this current billing period, I don't have any usage, so that's why it is showing me empty. And you can see over here we are also provided with a limit. So countries like US, Canada and India will be having a 10k limit over here, and apart from that all other countries will be having a 10k limit. So the users, like 10,000 users can sign up under this limit from all other countries, and similar in this case as well. So this is for the authentication part. Next we are having this database part, which is the Firebase database and the real-time database. So earlier only the real-time database was available inside our Flutter application, but like a few years back, Firebase also introduced this Firestore database, which is like another awesome thing to use inside your Firebase project. So let me first talk more about this real-time database. So real-time database, as the name suggests, is a kind of database through which you can get the data or like update the data on a real-time basis. Here these are the IDs which are generated randomly, or we can like customize them to generate so that we have more information to be displayed to the user. And apart from that, you can see over here that, and we have various different properties over here which are to be displayed. So you can see the F name is there, first name, the image link is over here, and we are having this JSON type data inside this image link. So this is how the real-time database will be looking. We can set the rules for this database so that only a particular kind of information or particular kind of user could access the database from the real-time database, and could update the data in the real-time database. So for example, if you want the user to be authenticated, so you can set a rule for that. From the backups option, you can create the backup of the data on the basis of your need, and from the usage you will be getting the information about what's the usage for this particular database. Coming towards the Firestore database, this is most probably similar to what we can say, the real-time database as a concept for storing the data. But here we have collections, document, and then we store various different data under different collections, and then we can create documents for the same, and so on. The hierarchy tree keeps on going. So for example, I am having this image link, so I have a collection for that. Each user has this particular unique ID, and for this particular unique ID we have this mail ID of the user and various different information which we want to store related to the same. For the details also I am having another collection. So here you can see that this is the particular user with full name, the company, and the age. So you can create various different collections on the basis of that. Coming towards the next thing, which is the storage. So this is used for storing some data which you want, which the user is uploading or which you want to be stored inside your Firebase. So you can see over here that this is the key for the user, and when I'll be clicking on it, you can see that here is an image which was saved from the user, the authenticated user's account, and like it has been updated or added inside this Firebase storage only. And this is the image you can see, which is like a blank rectangle, a blank white rectangle which is appearing over here, the size of the image when it was created and stuff like that. You can also set the rules over here for like limiting the access to the users or limiting the access to various different particular entities, like the user should be authenticated or user should be having the email as verified and stuff like that. Next comes the hosting part. So hosting is used when you are like working on some of the website and you want to host them with the help of Firebase. It is a pretty easy method for hosting the websites on your like Firebase dashboard or through the Firebase dashboard. But like I'll not be talking more about it, because in Flutter or like in Android app development you mostly don't need to work on this particular thing. Next we have these functions inside our Firebase dashboard which can be like implemented or which can be triggered on the basis of a particular implementation of the user. And apart from that, once these are triggered, you can perform various different operations on the cloud itself and you can get the data for the same. So you most probably won't be needing a backend for the same. You can just perform the functions, get the updated data, and like display it to the user. But to use the functions you need to upgrade your project's billing plan to pay as you go plan. So once you have like upgraded that, you will be option to create functions for this. I am in my Spark plan only, so like I haven't used functions yet. Inside any of my projects. So yeah, that's probably much about functions. Talking about this machine learning part, so with this machine learning part you can solve common problems inside your application with the help of machine learning. You can implement and like assess the data which is like provided to you from the users. It could be like data, the user data which you are getting, the activity data which will be tracked through analytics. For example, if the user is spending much time on the main screen and less time on the user info screen, then you can like get the data from your app with the help of analytics, and then you can like pass that data through machine learning and get the appropriate output, like what could be the changes which could be done over here so that the usage of the app is increased to a certain level and the users are interacting with the app much more. So you can implement that with the help of this machine learning feature over here. Next we have this release and monitor. So this is basically used when you are releasing an app and you want to monitor the things inside your application. Talking about the feature it has, so the first one is the crash analytics, basically which will be providing you with the info about various different crashes which are appearing inside our application. So for example, if you are developing an app and in the development process you are not facing any error, but there are chances that if someone else who is having a different OS, different smartphone, the different versions which are installed inside his smartphone, so at that time the app may crash, and this is crash analytics is for the same. So whenever a crash would be occurring, it will be providing you with some information inside your dashboard over here, and you can then use that use that information to get the steps or to reproduce the error, and then solve the errors and then make another release for your application. So that is the use of crash analytics inside our Firebase dashboard or inside our application. Next we have this performance tab, through which you can assess the performance of your application. So you will be getting actionable insights inside your app performance and the latencies for the user's experience. So you need to add an SDK for the same. I personally haven't used this performance, so I still have to try this, but yeah, I haven't used it much inside my application or to test the performance of any of my application. Next we have this test lab, through which you can run the test inside your application, and or if you are updating a game, so you can run the test inside your games as well. And the Google hosted devices, so there are various different devices which are hosted on Google. You directly have to drag your application over here, and then you can run the test through the test lab on various different devices which are available. So we have this iOS XE test, through which like you can run the test on iOS, and we have this game loop as well available over here through which you can run the test on games. Next, we have this app distribution through which you can distribute pre-release version of your application to trusted tester. So for example, now your user base is growing and you have a large number of users who are using your application, and you want to test the new version of the app on various different users devices. So you can release that particular version of app for those particular devices, and the users would be getting an access to that, and they'll be updating an app. They'll be providing you with some data inside the crash analytics or inside the analytics, and on the basis of that data you can figure out if you want to release that app for like all the people who are using the app, or like if you want to make some updates for the same. So you can use this for enabling this particular feature inside your application. Talking about the analytics thing, so we have this dashboard over here. Apart from that, we have this real-time option which will be providing you with the information about analytics and on a real-time basis. We have various different options as well, which I will not be going into because like it's for you to explore. You will be going through it, you will be implementing the analytics inside of Flutter application and will be getting the data appropriately. On the basis of that, you can figure out what each of this property is for and what you can do with each of those things which are available inside this particular analytics tab over here. So here you can see that for me in the last 30 minutes, as there is no usage, so it is showing me everything as blank. But earlier when the app was being used by some users, at that time it was providing me with some data over here. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the analytics part. Now moving towards the engage. So we have various different important options or various different interesting features which you can use through this engage tab. One is the predictions tab. So this prediction is basically kind of an ML model or kind of an AI feature which will be helping you to predict the users usage on the app, like based on the activity or based on how the users would be using your app. So for example, from the data which you have obtained for a main activity or for the home page of the screen, it will be assessing the data, and then if you are making some particular changes to that particular screen, then it will be assessing that data and will be telling you how the users will be behaving to your app. With the help of that data, you can then make out what particular changes you would be needing or what particular changes should be done to your application, so that the interactivity of the user could be like increased and like how the user behavior could be improved as well. Next, we have this A/B testing feature over here available inside our Firebase console. So A/B testing feature is basically for running experiment to make key engagement flow more effective. So for example, as I was talking about that the user is interacting more with the home screen and not with the user info screen. So you can perform various different tests over here to make the interaction of the user with the user info screen much more interactive, and like user is visiting that particular screen as well. Although like it is not a valid point to make, because like user would be visiting the user info screen only when he wants to update the information. But like yeah, you can also make his interaction with that particular screen much more interactive, so that he is there to like visit that screen much more as compared as like he's visiting the home screen as well. So yeah, this is the A/B testing thing which you can use or implement inside your application. Next is the cloud messaging thing, through which you can send the notification to the users directly from this dashboard. So you can add a message over here, and clicking on send, it will be sending the message to a particular section of the users or like to everyone who is using the app. Next, we have this in-app messaging feature which will be sending the in-app notification inside your Flutter project or inside your Android or iOS project. So what in-app messaging is, on like how it is different from cloud messaging. So inside the in-app messaging thing, you will be displayed with the messages inside your app. It could be like when you are opening the app, it could be like when you are closing the app, when you have used the app for 10 minutes, or when you are clicking on any particular button inside your application. So at that time, these particular messages would be sent inside your application. But for cloud messaging, it is like if the user has closed the app and he hasn't used the app for 2 days, so you can select a category inside your cloud messaging and you can send the notification only to the users who have last activity for 2 days, and then they'll only be getting the notification, and there is no need for them to open the app to get the notification. So this is the major difference between cloud messaging and the in-app notification thing. Next, moving toward the remote config. So I haven't used it like yet inside my Flutter application, so I don't have much info about them, but like as it shows that you can customize and experiment with apps behavior using server-side configuration, parameters and features. So for example, what this image displays is that for example there are males who are using the app and there are females who are using the app. So for males you can change the UI a bit with the help of the configurations from the backend, and for the females you can change the UI a bit through the backend, and like you can see how the interactions are going and like how the features and how the people are reacting towards the features which you have implemented or the changes which you have implemented. So you can do that thing as far as I am getting from this remote config dashboard. Next we have this dynamic link option inside our Flutter application. So for example, if you are getting a notification inside your app, so if you are clicking on that notification, it will be directly opening the app for you. But for Instagram and WhatsApp, if you have seen, so if you are getting a message as a notification, so if you are clicking on that message, it will be directly opening the chat of that user from whom the message was arrived inside your notification. So that is the basical use of dynamic link, through which you will be taken directly to the screen or directly to the page to which that notification is dedicated to. So you can do that thing in, as well with the help of this dynamic link, and create dynamic link inside your application directly. Next we have this add more feature, which is basically for adding the ads inside our application and to generate a revenue from the same. So once your app has grown and once the user base for your app is growing rapidly, so you can add or implement add mob inside a Flutter application, or like the Android and iOS application as well, and you can display the ads over there, and then user would, if the user would be interacting with the app, then you will be getting some amount or some money for that as well. So you can do that as well, but like for me, as the app was not being used by much users, so that's why I haven't like integrated it over here inside this particular application. So yeah, this was one of the last things which is available inside this engage dashboard or like engage tab. Apart from that, as I have already told about the extensions which were available, so you have some more extension as well which you can add over here, but like I haven't used any much extensions apart from the ones which are available by the Google itself or by Google team itself, because like adding those extension is pretty easy as compared to adding some third-party extension or some other extensions which are available for us to integrate inside our application. So yeah, this was pretty much it for the walkthrough of the Firebase dashboard. So I have to sum up, I have walked you through various different options which are available inside our Firebase dashboard under this build tab, this release and monitor, analytics, although I have not covered much about analytics, and this engage as well. And now you have information about what are the various different things which you can use from the Firebase for various different properties which you want to implement inside your Flutter application. Most of the time the integration of the properties which are available from the Firebase inside your application, talking specifically about the Flutter part, is pretty easy, and you have various different packages available for the same, and most of them have that the pseudo code also available which you need to directly add inside your app, and the features and the properties would be working. So you can check that out, and like integration is pretty much easy. I'll also be making videos on the same, like the sign in part, database part, notification part and storage part and stuff like that. There are also chances for me to cover the analytic part in deep in the upcoming videos, so make sure to check those videos out as well. And yeah, this was pretty much it for this video. If you got to learn something new from this video, then make sure to give it a like. Apart from that, comment down below what you got to learn and what you want to see in the upcoming videos. Subscribe to the channel to get all the latest updates related to the Flutter development course being posted. So a new video is being posted every alternate day, so make sure to subscribe to get all the latest updates. And apart from that, share this video with the communities you are a part of and with the people who want to learn Flutter, so that they can also get access to free course directly and good information as well. And yeah, make sure to check out Newton School and Launchpad through the link given in the description. And that was pretty much it for this video. I'll be seeing you in the next one.